Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. Mark Zuckerberg lays out his plans to regulate the internet. Korean millennials are ditching the shy bowl in favor of other career paths. A cycling odyssey for a very good cause. And robots doing stuff in some new viral video. Well, top of our newsfeed, Mark Zuckerberg, the architect of Facebook and the harbinger of the new world we live in, took to old media at the weekend to put his flag in the sand to set the framework in which the beast he created will be regulated in the future. He has a number of areas of focus and, interestingly, uses the European Parliament's General Data Protection Regulations as a framework. Here's Adama.
Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has declared war on some of the ills of the internet, arguing more needs to be done to keep online communities safe. It echoes World Wide Web founder Tim Berners-Lee's sentiment, who says we need a codified relationship with the internet.
People who are online, whoops, the web is not the web we wanted in every respect.
Let me just cut to the chase.
Facebook is one social media company criticized for not doing enough to protect users' data and protect against fake news. Which is why it's no surprise Zuckerberg identifies 4 key areas which his company has been specifically targeted for: harmful content, election integrity, privacy, and data portability. Now, harmful content might seem like a vague term, but if Facebook's recent ban on white nationalism and separatism is anything to go by, it has shown it is wide-ranging. Zuckerberg is launching a new independent body for people to appeal Facebook's decisions relating to free speech, and calls for third-party bodies to measure companies against standards designed to curb harmful content. The intended effect? To ensure social media companies do not wield too much power over speech. Secondly, in the wake of controversy involving Facebook, the US 2016 presidential elections, and Cambridge Analytica, Facebook has built a directory showing who pays for adverts and who is watching them. But Zuckerberg claims that knowing whether an ad is political isn't always clear. So for now, Facebook should be focusing on electioneering. Thirdly, Zuckerberg supports a global framework that deals with privacy and data protection. He says the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation is a good framework for other countries. All EU citizens are given increased privacy and extensive data rights. This is perhaps one area that would offer greater consensus, because most people want the right to determine how their information is used and ensures everyone gets the same protections. But whether or not other countries will take this on is yet to be seen. Lastly, Zuckerberg suggests people should have a choice to share data with one service and also be able to move it to another. But there would need to be clear rules on protection of data when it moves between services. Currently, this is tackled by EU legislation. Technology and media has become a way of living for us, and what Zuckerberg is calling for is more uniformity in users' rights, accountability for companies, and a greater role for governments. The question is, how long until the next social media crisis before we get to this point?
Well, last week, Facebook said that they would ban the promotion of white nationalism and white separatism, which opened the debate of what are the limits of freedom of speech online. Now, Paul Bernal, author of the book The Internet, Warts and All, Free Speech, Privacy and Truth, says we need to rethink censorship and what role governments should really be playing in it.
The UK government wants to make social media companies ban posting of anti-vax stuff. Kind of anti-science stuff, anti-vax stuff, climate change denial, and so on. And again, in each individual case, you can say, yes, that makes sense. We should do that. This is harmful. But when you get the gradual acceptance of the idea that someone in government should decide what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable, well, that is censorship, and that is something that we should be concerned about. So I welcome this particular thing, but we need to be extremely wary and need to be very clear that there are limits that need to be taken seriously. And those limits work both ways, both limits in what people can say publicly in this way, but also limits in what governments can do to decide what should be acceptable and what shouldn't be acceptable. It's a kind of symbiotic relationship between the governments and the companies. The government kind of pushes to hint what should be done, then the tech companies do what they think the governments want them to do. Both sides are involved in the process. Yes, it might be better if it's set out by government, but there are dangers in that as well. It's again, there is no easy solution that works here, which is why we as the people need to be very wary of it and need to make sure we don't let ourselves be ridden roughshod over either by the tech companies or by our governments. It's very interesting. I've heard lots of people say that actually the internet has generally done more harm than good. We should basically shut it all down. And while I understand the fear, I don't think it's right, because I think there's still so many positive things to be done. And with that freedom, so many positive things that can be done. And also, remember, when we look around the world and look at the politicians we have, do we really want them to make all the decisions for us? It's not a palatable thing. It doesn't look good to say, okay, we're going to hand it all over to them and stop giving ourselves any kind of freedom to discuss things. We have to recognize freedom of speech brings bad stuff as well as good, but the overall effect is a positive one.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other things that have caught our eye on social media.
Shedding tears, all this money, power, fame, and I can't make you reappear, but I'll wipe them though. We just embrace the only life we know. If it was me, I'd tell you, nigga, live your life and grow.
Nipsey Hussel, a rapper from California, has been shot dead outside the store he owned in Los Angeles. His real name was Amias Ashkidom, and people across the music business have been paying tribute. He's been praised for returning to the neighborhood he grew up in after becoming famous and talking a lot and trying to help with black empowerment and bringing business and jobs to underserved black communities. Reiwa, that's the name of the new era coming on May the 1st, according to Japan, and it will be the beginning point of the reign of Prince Naruhito. He's the son of the current Emperor Akihito, who will be stepping down in a month's time. And video of some people taking their incredibly valuable and beautiful falcons into an aircraft cabin has some people with little appreciation of other cultures very excited. This short clip has been watched 2 million times. And in case you're one of those people who don't know about falconry, it's a huge pastime in the Middle East, and all the major airlines there have a policy, I understand, of allowing at least 1 falcon per passenger on board when flying economy. That was a few years ago when a Saudi prince bought out a plane. Now to South Korea now, and some young people there are rejecting the big conglomerates like Samsung et al. And pursuing far more millennial-style career paths.
Would you quit your job for YouTube stardom? When Yu Chang-won did exactly that 4 years ago, his parents told him to get his sanity checked.
They had a hard time understanding why I would quit such a stable job that most others were dying to get.
He used to work at Samsung as a researcher, earning about $58,000 a year. That's triple the national entry-level wage. Plus, he had top-notch healthcare and other benefits. But he had to work late hours with little opportunity to move up. Eventually, Yoon was burnt out and realised this wasn't the kind of life he wanted.
My boss at the time didn't look very happy either. He was always overworked and barely spent any time with his family.
He now runs a YouTube channel about pursuing dream jobs, an increasingly popular topic among South Korean millennials. The aspiration used to be a career with big conglomerates like Hyundai or Samsung. But a growing wave of young people are ditching white-collar positions and shifting to more unconventional careers. YouTube millionaire Dae Do-suk-won is a poster child for this. He used to work for a big conglomerate. Now he has more than 19 million subscribers on his gaming channel and makes about $15 million a year.
It's an attractive option because being a YouTuber lets you earn money and get a sense of achievement by doing what you like.
In January, quitting jobs was one of the nation's top 10 New Year's resolutions on major social media sites, and some people are even going back to school to learn how to do that. The School of Quitting Jobs in Seoul has attracted more than 7,000 people since opening its doors in 2016. Courses include how to YouTube, manage an identity crisis, and how to brainstorm Plan B.
My work was really repetitive and boring, so I didn't want to be stuck in it forever.
And the school won't likely be short of business anytime soon. According to a recent government poll, becoming a YouTube creator is now one of the top 5 dream jobs for elementary school students.
Okay, let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Monday. Zuzana Kapitova is Slovakia's new president, the first time a woman has held that position in her country's history. Her election is being seen by some commentators as evidence of a more inclusive kind of politics and that it can succeed in Europe. She ran a campaign calling for greater rights for minorities and gave her acceptance speech in 5 languages. Britain's decision to leave the European Union is facing a big week. There are going to be a series of votes starting today which will let the world know when the UK will leave and under what terms. The petition to get Britain to stay in the EU has now reached 6 million signatures and will be debated today. And the Louvre commissioned a piece to mark the 30th anniversary of the glass pyramid there, but it was made of 2,000 pieces of paper and quickly was destroyed by the droves of tourists who make their way to the Louvre every day and make it the world's most popular museum. The decision to make the pieces out of paper had been criticised on social media. Now, a couple from Manchester have embarked on a remarkable world tour, and it's all for an incredible cause. Take a look at this.
What are you carrying in our bags?
Carrying in the bags.
Everything, our lives. In 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I've had a lot of treatment, surgery. Going through all that, it's part of our lives now, and we want to make people aware.
I'm Chris, this is Gabs.
And we are Chris and Gabs WorldCyclingTour.com.
We're cycling 100,000 kilometres across the 7 continents of the world, raising awareness and funding for a charity called Prevent Breast Cancer.
And it's going to take us about 7 years.
So total countries we've done so far, we've done 15 countries. We plan to do 67, it's a bit of a funny number, but that's our route takes us through 67 countries. We was about to go on a cycling tour 2 years ago, and she just went for a routine checkup, and little did we know she already had breast cancer. So, but if it wasn't for a check-in, it would be a different story today. We've heard that our message of trying to make people understand how important it is about being, breast aware. We've had a few people contact us, and they've actually checked themselves and found something, and then they've gone to get it sorted.
Because our charity Prevent Breast Cancer, their motto is to predict it, prevent it and protect.
Yeah.
So that's our mission. It's just spread awareness.
Inspirational couple of people. And last up, we have some viral video of some pretty impressive robots. Now, these things are called Handlebots, and they look to us a bit like a mechanized ostrich, but as you can see, they are stacking boxes with ease. Incredibly, they're heavy, those boxes. Now, this video has been watched nearly 2 million times, and yes, these Handlebots will be ruling warehouses in the years to come. Before they help the company that made them, Boston Dynamics, rule the world. Now, Boston Dynamics make loads of incredible robots, all designed to replace human labor, and they have a very good working relationship with the US military. Oh, good. And that is all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter and YouTube, and you can follow me on Instagram. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again tomorrow.